What up, guys? We're at Pudding Stone today, and I wanted to come out here and break down some techniques for you guys. I don't know what the bite's gonna be like, but I heard that the shad are just chock full of all around the lake. So we're gonna see what we could do. We might bust out the jig head minnow again, but if the wind picks up, we might throw a little bit of top water or finesse techniques, or even some power fishing techniques. So we're gonna get out here, see how it's gonna play out. We're gonna use our side scan imaging. We have our good old Lowrance HDS9 that's super old, but we're gonna try to make do with the electronics that we have. And then up front, we have another HDS9 with a Garmin as our forward-facing sonar, so we could make accurate casts to each individual fish. So right now what we're doing is we're scanning the lake. I believe we're going about 5 miles an hour, 5 to 10 miles an hour. And we're just idling, looking for bright spots on the graph. So if you see bright clouds on your graph, whether if it's on the left side or the right side, that's gonna be your bait fish. So threadfin shad, you'll see bright bulls or bright clouds on your side scan. So right now we have our contrast dialed low enough so that the bottom looks darker, so when bait fish come up on your side scan, it's gonna be bright. It's gonna be super bright orange. So right there, that could be a bait ball right here. It's kind of like a cloud. That could also be, you know, algae going up from the bottom. But we're gonna continue to idle this bay over here, over at Pudding Stone, and try to figure out where the bait balls are. So as we get shallower and shallower, you're gonna notice the bottom's getting brighter and brighter. You wanna adjust your contrast based on the depth that you're targeting. So I see a bait ball on my right hand side, small little bait ball, but I don't see any bright marks that are inside the bait balls. I want to see fish around those bait balls as well. So I'm going to keep on idling around. A lot of bass fishing is just time on the water and idling around until you see a magical area. If you keep on idling, covering water in those high percentage spots throughout the whole entire day, you'll eventually run into a school of bass. So keep on going, keep on going. It's all about the end game, you know, the journey to get to those schools of bass. So we found the bait. So there's tons of bait balls on the side scan right there. And that's what we want to look for, is all that bait. And so we could start fishing, we can put down our trolling motor and just go ahead and scan the general area and figure out, you know, what these bass want. As soon as I turned on the graph, the fish are on the screen. Right when I saw the bait ball. So what I usually do is I set up a light jig head minnow and then a heavier one. Right now, I have a heavier one tied on, or I have a lighter one tied on. So with this technique, you could either have, I like to have rod tip down so I could stay in that water column. Right now I'm fishing a ledge, and right now they're sitting on top of that ledge. But I'm wondering if one will come off the bottom. Throwing a jig head minnow right now. Mooch minnow with a CMF jig head, 1/8 ounce. But I like to follow it up with a drop shot. Drop shot's always, you know, if you could master finesse, you'll do really well in tournaments. Because a lot of tournaments these days, either day one will start out tough, or day 2 or 3 will start out really tough, and you gotta adjust and fish finesse sometimes. Oh, they're boiling right here. So that's another thing, is that, you know, you could fish on live scope, and you could get really caught up into looking at the screen, but you also want to be aware of what's going on around you. And there's a huge school ahead of us. This is almost automatic. Come on. There we go. There. Oh, broke off. Let me show you what's going on here. So right here, that's all bass right there. You see that, guys? So when they bust up that bait on the surface, when they push it up, you'll see that right there. That's what I'm aiming for. Let's go ahead and try the flutter spoon right now. Or let's throw this heavier head on them. Too close to the boat, and they don't want anything to do with it. Huge school, guys. I mean, huge. Right away, they didn't want the spoon, so let's try something else. Come on, eat it. There we go. Finally. Now that's the 110 megabass jerkbait. Let's check out the size of these fish. Ow, got me. There we go, guys. Number one. You gotta adjust. So at first I threw the mooch, broke that off. Then I threw the freeloader, and they didn't want any part of it. The jerkbait, 110 plus one weighted down hooks, treble hooks, threadfin shad. Nice schoolie right here. So I'm guessing most of them are this size, about 14 inches. But it's a lot of fun. You can get on them real quick. Can't win a lot of tournaments with that size, but you can catch a safe limit. Kind of save face. Get your AOI points with those bass, and then quickly look for the winning bass after that. Giant school. Here we go. Here we go. Just erratic action, guys. There we go. Another solid one on the jerkbait. I mean, there's hundreds of them down there. This one looks to be a little bit bigger than the other one. I usually have my drag cinched down quite a bit. There we go. Better one, guys. This one's like a 15 to 16 incher, and it has a little bit more weight to it. They're eating that threadfin shad right there. It's a nice one right here, guys. Let's get back in there. There's hundreds of them, so when you find hundreds of them like that, Megabass 110 jerkbait, or there's two of them that I go to. Megabass 110 plus one plus two. They're junior. And then I'll throw a 6 cents jerkbait as well. Slow sink. Once you get on that school, just look around for them. They'll magically appear somewhere. Sometimes after you catch one, you want to let the school kind of relax, chill, and then get after it again one more time. And there could be multiple pods. Another thing you can do is just look out for the bait. Look out, not for the bait, look for bass that are hitting the surface. As I'm scanning around, let's talk about the baits that I tied on during the fall when these fish are grouped up a lot. Obviously I'll tie on the jig head minnow with a freeloader and a mooch. I'll tie on an underspin, a jerkbait, a flutter spoon, And those are my go-to baits, you know, during the fall. You know, you could tie on a drop shot for finesse if you like later on, if things are really tough. That's about it, you know. If there's sometimes I'll throw crankbaits during the fall. It depends on the cover too. So if those like northern strain bass, I'll throw a square bill on, I'll throw a lipless crankbait. Oh, that's a decent one. Right off that cover. So there's some man-made habitat here. And this guy just raced up to eat it. Biggest one of today on that jerkbait. They'll come flying up. If one's really hot on it, they'll come after it 10, 15 feet above them. Especially if they're suspended and they're waiting for something to come by. We got a airport nearby, so sorry for the audio, it's sucking, but chunky guy. Nice 16-inch, 15-inch bass. We're gonna talk about the jerkbait setup. So what I have here is a 7-foot medium action, fast, medium power, fast action rod. I recommend anywhere from 6'6" to 6'8" or 6'10", so that way you don't hit the water on the jerks. I use all fluorocarbon. I have backing of braid underneath, but I have a full cast of fluorocarbon, and I go anywhere from 8-pound tests to 15-pound tests, depending where I'm fishing. If I'm fishing near timber and etc. and heavy structure, I'll go to 15-pound test. If I'm fishing in open water and it's ultra clear, I'll go down to 8 or 10-pound test. But a happy medium is 12-pound. 12-pound, you get down deep enough. And what I have here is a +1 Megabass 110. And I weighted the front hooks right here, and I weighted a little bit of the back hook, but majority of the front hook. Now the reel is super important. I use a 7.2 to 8 ratio reel at a 70 size. I'm left-handed, so I have a 71. If you could afford it, get the DC, so that way you don't backlash, or get any reel, top high-end reel that's small and nice and compact, so that way you don't get tired by the end of the day. I like the smaller reel because it fits nice and snug in my hand. Anything larger, I'm just gonna get sore throughout the day and I won't want to fish it the next day. So that's my setup. I don't have the optimum setup right now, but eventually I'm gonna get a rod that's 6'6" to 6'10", a little bit heavier power and fast action. This one's a 7-footer, and yeah, eventually I'll upgrade. But grab yourself, the only thing that you have is a 7-footer. Grab yourself a 7-footer, medium, fast action, and start working that jerkbait. Let's try a little topwater. Right here is a Teckle kick knocker, and I have 15-pound mono hooked up to it. Short leader so it doesn't tangle. And when the fish are up high, that's when you can get away with topwater. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Come on, eat it. There we go. Got him. Yeah, they're that close up to the water. Again, I'm looking at it. There's so many followers. So many. This one's skin hooked. Came and got it. Yeah, so if they're hanging out in the high water column, you could get them on a topwater bait, you know, and you can get away with throwing something bigger to kind of get them to rise up, trigger them, you know what I mean? So it's not big, but it's fun. Like I said, so you could show face at the weigh-in. There we go. Lots of them. I'm talking hundreds of them. Get out now. It's fun. It's fun fishing. Tournament season may be over, but fun fishing ain't. There we go. Spin you go, spin you go, spin you, spin you, spin you go. There we go. Oh! Fast release. Let me discuss how I'm working this jerk bait and how I'm locating these schools. What I try to do is scan out wherever I see bait. I see tons of bait. I scan the section for schools, large schools of bass. And they could be anywhere from 5 fish to 30 or 40 or 100 fish, schools. So after I locate them, I kind of position them anywhere from 50 to 60 feet away from the boat, right? I cast past them, making sure I cast accurately. I like to do sidearm casts because I tend to be more accurate with sidearm, and it avoids a lot more wind doing sidearm casts. But if you have to, go overhand if you need to. Cast 40 feet past them. So cast 90 feet away from the boat and then get it to that school that's 50 or 60 feet away from the boat. After you do that, rip it as hard as you can. Try to get those fish to pay attention to your lure. As soon as you see them light up, start moving it more erratically. Less of a pause, shorter of a pause. Now, if they're bigger fish, let them catch up to it a little bit, but do not pause it too long. That pause deal, don't pause it too long, okay? The more erratic, the less pause I do with this bait after I cause them to get their attention, the better luck I get, the more bites I get. So as soon as you get their attention, try to rip it away from them, kind of like a cat and mouse game, and you'll get a lot more bites that way. The top 2 mistakes that I see in jerkbait fishing is not being able to cast accurately, and number 2, when you work the bait, you shouldn't reel and jerk, reel and jerk, reel and jerk. You shouldn't constantly reel. The bait is meant to slash in the water like this, kind of like a walking bait. So the only reeling you're doing is to reel up the slack, but you always want it to jerk on semi-slack line, okay? So semi-slack line. Only reel in the extra slack to keep it semi-slack. One tip I have for you guys, if it's super windy, just go with the wind, kind of drift into them. So go past your spot, maybe 100, 200 feet, and just drift into them. Maybe even 50 yards, and then just drift to the spot rather than going right to it and then drifting. Because if you go right to your waypoint and you're on them, your boat's just gonna get out of boat position, and you'll be more efficient when you just go with the current.